Hello everyone, with Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Thursday evening, September 21, 2023. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what the has been like in your ear recently. Also feel free to ask any related question that you might have about the future of the in your specific area. I respond to all comments and I really live for this stuff. Alright, so let's just take a look at the US National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. We can see that we still have Hurricane Nigel right there across the northern section of the North Atlantic. It's packing maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour right now, and it is moving towards the east northeast at a pretty quick speed of 37 miles per hour. We can see that that area that's off the southeastern coast of the United States that had a chance of development has now been designated as potential tropical cyclone 16, which basically means that it is definitely going to be affecting land very soon. So they just want to get the tropical storm warnings or watches out so that people are prepared. It's not yet a tropical storm, but it's definitely going to become one. And the next name on the list is going to be Ophelia. We can also see that we have that area of possible tropical cyclone development across the main development region, which now has an 80% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. According to the Hurricane Center, it says showers and thunderstorms associated with a broad area of low pressure a few hundred miles southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands are showing signs of organization. Environmental conditions are forecast to be conducive for gradual development of the system, and the depression is likely to form this weekend or early next week, while the system moves generally westward at 10 to 15 miles per hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic. So remember, it was looking like the system might have been possibly moving toward the northwest or the west northwest, maybe even missing the Caribbean in general. But we can see now the track has shifted to a more westward track, and we know these things go. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow Hurricane Center updates again, and it's showing more of a northerly track. It's just a waiting game at this point to see exactly what unfolds, and I'll be here to keep you all posted. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the L right here off the southeast coast of the United States associated with potential tropical cyclone 16. We can see the other L right here across the eastern main development region associated with that area of possible cyclone development. And we can also see that we have another tropical wave right there to the east of the Caribbean. Taking a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with potential tropical cyclone 16, lots of showers and thunderstorm activity right there off the southeastern coast of the United States, and it's definitely going to be moving northward to affect the east coast. We can also see that we have some scattered clouds here and there with some amount of afternoon convection across much of the maybe Leeward Islands and the Greater Antilles. We can also see the clouds associated with those tropical waves that we mentioned across the main development region. We'll be talking more about the weather across the Caribbean later on. Let's focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today. It was stated that we would have received some amount of rainfall across sections of, let's say, central and western parishes in Jamaica, and yes, and what ended up happening? We actually had, and we know the central and western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex for central parishes, and the western parishes, those parishes in the county of Cornwall. And actually, what took place was the fact that we had more in the way of rainfall across sections of those very areas that were predicted to receive that rainfall. So definitely across sections of Kingston and St. Andrew, sections of southern St. Mary, St. Anne, southern St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland as usual, definitely got in some amount of deep convection. And we even had some of our commenters confirming the rainfall. We had Cardi D stating rain downtown Kingston right now. Tyrell stating Alligator Pond, lots of thunder, overcast. Even on our Instagram page, we had the commenters confirming the rainfall. Crazy Unique stating finally, me say, finally, after 2 weeks of waiting, Simret Selassie stating, enough rain, lightning, thunder, Kingston 6, and little bit of Indian stating, as school over, here comes the rain. We even had another commenter confirming the rainfall, helped by God Michelle stating Kingston 16, rain, lightning, and thunder. And even on our Facebook page, we even had some of our commenters confirming the rainfall. If we can get to those comments, let's see if they actually load. Alright, so yes, definitely we had some amount of rainfall across sections of the island for today, and we had right here some of our commenters on our Facebook page confirming this rainfall. So we can see most of them were really concerned about the earthquake that just took place. We're gonna be talking about that earthquake shortly, but we definitely got some amount of rainfall for today across sections of some central and western parishes in Jamaica. And we can even see that another post was made highlighting the infrared satellite images at about 4:15 p.m. And the sparkling white dots we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, across those very areas that were predicted to receive rainfall. And we even have right here Javon confirming the rainfall, rain heavy in his area. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images before the sun went down, we can see where we have some amount of clouds that went in from east to west across the island. Then we had that buildup of convection, that diurnal convection. Then we had those high cold cloud tops being pushed off towards the south. And we can even see it better on the infrared satellite images where we have those colors. We know when we see the colors blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, that represents the deep convection as indicated by the key on the right. And we can see majority of it died down by the end of the day. If we take a look at the Cuban Doppler radar images right now, we can see that we do indeed have some amount of rainfall right there up to the northwest of the island. So maybe northwest of Hanover right there, definitely getting in on some rainfall. If you're out to sea, they're definitely getting in on some heavy weather. We know the reds and the yellows represent some strong rainfall, greens represent light to moderate rainfall. And we can see that on the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours by the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, we indeed had some amount of rainfall across the area right here for today. So sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes, especially mainly central and western Jamaica, got some amount of rainfall for today. Alright, so let us talk about the earthquake that took place at around 7:31 p.m. today. We're actually in the midst of recording a video at the time when the earthquake took place. I didn't feel it in my area of St. Thomas, but it was definitely felt across the island as far as St. James. We had reports coming in from some people, but it was mainly felt across the areas, maybe St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, especially Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Thomas, and Portland. Those were the main areas where we got it. The preliminary or the early reports of this earthquake was that it was a 5.0 or 5.2, but considering that the United States Geological Survey is the official source, we know that it was actually a 4.3 magnitude earthquake, and that's actually what's designated as a light earthquake. You can see by the scale right here between 4.0 and 4.9. It's a light earthquake and it's likely felt, so not necessarily everybody is going to feel that earthquake. Either way, just remember that if another one should happen, we must always remember to drop, cover, and hold on. Alright, so as it relates to the temperatures right now, we can see we have 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, and as the night progresses, these temperatures should dip. So 25 degrees Celsius is what is going to be expected across Kingston, 26 degrees Celsius across Montego Bay. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can still see some yellows and oranges that represent even 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know that for the month of September, we usually get up to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about the equivalent of 32 degrees Celsius when we look at the thermometer. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to 35 degrees Celsius at most for Friday. We can still see that we have a lot of moist air across the Jamaica area as indicated by the blues. We do have some amount of dry air across the southern portion of the Caribbean, so south of Jamaica, south of Hispaniola, as we can see by the yellows and the orange within those yellows. As it relates to the siren dust forecast, only some slight yellows are not yellows, some slight browns. They represent some slight or minimum hazy weather across the southeastern Caribbean, right here to the south of Puerto Rico. We can see that majority of the siren dust is right there across the main development regions as well as Africa, as indicated by those darker shades of browns. Jamaica not getting anything at all at this time, or for 2 p.m. on Friday. As it relates to the wave forecast for tomorrow, we can still see that we don't have much in the way of high wave heights, maybe up to a meter wave height across the island, and that's due to the fact that the winds are not going to be that strong. Maybe averaging 10 to 15 knots at most coming in from the east, and we do see where we have those darker blues that represent less than 5 knot winds. That's where we're going to have all of that air piling up, then the afternoon convection coming back in. So we can see that we're going to be having the opposite of what we happen to have today. Today we had more of a northerly kind of flow with the upper level winds that brought in some well needed rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. Now we have a trough digging in our area, so definitely going to be having more of an upper level flow coming in from the southwest for tomorrow. We see that on both the U and the GFS, and usually that favors more of that afternoon convection or overcast skies across sections of some northern parishes. Either way, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS malls, as it relates to the rainfall forecast, they're showing some amount of blues. What time is this? It's about 2 p.m. Jamaica time. We do see the blues that represent some amount of rainfall across the island, especially inland areas of some central western parishes, eastern parishes, maybe southwest Portland, southern St. Mary, northern Kingston, and St. Andrew. So we're definitely going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for tomorrow across those spots. Taking a look at the rainfall totals, we can see only up to 0.47 of an inch of rainfall being predicted by the Euro, up to 0.54 of an inch being predicted by the GFS. Either way, we see that the rainfall is located the very areas that we just predicted, so central and western Jamaica. And we know these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on a Friday. So we're not going to be getting that much rainfall, but it's definitely going to be coming in on the afternoon. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for tomorrow. We're in the month of September. We're in our primary rainy season, and we know that we usually receive an increase in the amount of rainfall across the area for this time. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let's focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we can see where we indeed have some amount of afternoon convection across sections of the Greater Antilles. So Miami, Florida, even gotten on some heavy rainfall today. Cuba, Hispaniola, sections of Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, sections of Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, Costa Rica, Panama, El Salvador, definitely gotten on some amount of rainfall for today. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean for today, we can see where we indeed had that rainfall across some spots right here, as indicated by that passing tropical wave. We can see the greens that represent some amount of rainfall. We can see that rainfall that section of Florida got, and we can see that rainfall that section of Honduras got as well. As relates to the Barbados radar, we do see where we indeed has some amount of rainfall passing to the far south of Barbados, going into sections of eastern Trinidad right there. We do have some amount of scattered isolated showers passing to the north of Barbados, but nothing too serious at this time. And we can still see that we have the above normal temperatures to be receiving across majority of the Caribbean for tomorrow, as indicated by the yellows and the oranges that represent some amount of above normal temperatures. We can see that we don't have much in the way of saran dust to be receiving for 2 p.m. on Friday either, as indicated by those blues. We don't have much in the way of those lighter browns or darker browns for that matter. Majority of that is across the main development region. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, still receiving up to 1 or 1.5 meter wave heights across majority of the Caribbean, and that's due to the fact that winds are going to be coming in averaging up to 10 to 15 knots at most, coming in from the east across majority of the Caribbean. However, as it relates to the rainfall totals, we can see that we're definitely going to be in for some amount of rainfall anywhere from Florida, Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, sections of the Leeward Islands, so St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, and even areas south of there. So definitely French Guyana, Suriname, Guyana, maybe even some isolated flash flooding taking place, as we can see by those reds that represent up to an inch of rainfall or more. Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, sections of Nicaragua as well, and Guatemala, not to mention sections of Belize, are going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall for Friday. And we know these maps are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Friday. I know that when they're showing something similar like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.